How to outsmart reality. See, outsmarting reality is the only pathway to materializing your desired reality. And outsmarting reality is a spiritual science. Now, there's about 20 steps, and each one of these steps all link together like a neat little puzzle. More often than not, people struggle to materialize their desired reality. They'll do the affirmations, they'll do the meditation, the visualizations, the scripting, but for some reason, it just doesn't click. And what you don't realize is that there's deeper mechanics that exist within you, and due to the fact that you're a microcosm of the universe, they're reflected out into the universe that you begin to miss. Now, like I said, this is a spiritual science, and this is a spiritual science that the elite use. I mean, this is why the masses really fail to outsmart reality, and outsmarting reality is the only way to creating your desired reality. If you can't outsmart reality, you can't create your desired reality. And I'm an individual that is hired by Hollywood actors, professional footballers, NFL players, 6 to 8 figure entrepreneurs. So believe me when I tell you that the spiritual science that I'm going to be going through in this video is going to get you exactly to where you need to be, but you need to make sure that you understand each step. You can't miss them. Let's get into it. The irony of this is that this was a workshop that people had paid £300 for, but I decided to turn this into a free YouTube video to celebrate the release of my book, Outsmarting Reality. And best believe this, you can think of this like a book summary. I'm going to be going through each chapter very, very shortly and very quickly in order for those, I guess, video format helps, innit? Some people read, some people are visual learners. So yeah, let's get into it. Relax, relax, relax. You're definitely going to get some more than some action.
Yay. I always wanted more than some.
Why did you have to?
Speaking of getting some, someone said, me and my girl met on your live. I wonder how many relationships you create in the community.
Nice.
You really got some?
Nah, he got some. he got some. Should we start a matchmaking thing?
I'm sure you mentioned this before, off cam.
Yeah, let's do it, bro.
Listening to you has got me a job that I love making over 100K a year. I work on my own time and my job fits perfectly around my kids' routine. Your reality is a reflection of how you feel internally. Change your mindset so you can change your life with a heart.
Definitely, as within, as without. Thank you very much. Who is that?
Ashley B.
Thank you very much, Ashley. It's a pleasure.
People are getting shout outs now.
Yeah. Now, we've been shouting people out, like the woman that manifested a new car. Her name was Denise.
Oh, yeah. Now, there was a few people that manifested a car. I'm sure there was another one. Was it Precious?
Precious. See? Even you remember.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Let's go with... All right, cool. Let's go through it. So, I'm only going to do a summary of each chapter. I'm not going to go too much. All I need to do is look at the chapter titles, really and truly. There's like 20. All right, cool. First one, the old frequency. The first thing that you have to understand is that when you embark on the journey to create your desired reality, there's going to be an aspect of you that feels like you're self-sabotaging and why can't you move forward? And that every time you try to take a step forward, you get pushed back. What that is the old frequency. Now, what you have to understand is a frequency is nothing more than an energetic signature. And due to the fact that there's 3 planes of existence, what you don't realize that that energy is a living entity. And because it's a living entity, it has a psychology. And because it has a psychology, it has its own aims and desires. Now, what you don't realize is that the reason why when you attempt to do better, things get worse, or you feel a step being like you're being pushed a step back, is due to the fact that the old version of you, and this can be synonymous with the old version of you that you're trying to step away from, that may be accustomed to a particular lifestyle that you're trying to change and elevate from. That lifestyle is an energy, an entity, and it's a culmination of a bunch of experiences. The old frequency is a culmination of the old way you used to think, the old way you used to feel, the way that you used to perceive the world, the way that you used to expect things to happen to you, your beliefs, the conviction that you have, the identity that you've aligned with. The old frequency is representative of that old version of you. Imagine a version of me right here stood here, but this is synonymous with everything that I've come from. So a version of me from the ends, you understand what I'm saying? And in you, this can be whatever you're trying to step away from. Now that version of you doesn't want to die because it wants to continue living. And when you try to elevate, you begin to threaten its existence. And when you threaten its existence, it says, no. I'm not letting you go anywhere. And what you have to understand is, due to the fact that this entity exists on the spiritual plane, on the spiritual and mental plane, these are the causal realms of reality. These are the causal realms of reality. Say it with me. These are the causal realms of reality, which means if it can affect you on the spiritual plane and on the mental plane, it has the capability of affecting the effect that you call reality, or this physical plane, the world that you live in, is nothing more than the materialization of where you are spiritually and mentally. And it directly targets that in order to then target reality, because reality is nothing more than a reflection of these. And if you don't understand yourself, you can't understand reality. And that's a bar, write that down. The mistake that you keep making, a mistake that a lot of people make, is that attempting to look at the world and be confused without coming to the recognition that the lack of awareness that you have for the world is truly a lack of awareness that you have within yourself. And any degree of lack of awareness that you have within yourself is always going to be expressed outside of you in a way that you're confused and ignorant as to what's going on. Why aren't things changing? It's because you don't realize that there's an aspect of you that is literally fighting against you changing. And in the book, I go through understanding the psychology of the old frequency in the way that it thinks. And just to go through a couple of them, it's needy. It's an attention whore, quite literally. It will sway the reality that you live in and fuck up your life just to get your attention, because attention is a currency, and that's a currency of God, which then attention is alignment, which goes into another chapter, which I'll actually cover right now. But yes, that's the first one. And make sure to take notes and leave them in the comments.
I'm actually proud of you. I was reading your book last night and I was like, this is actually a very good book.
What do you mean, actually? What does that mean?
Because I've tried to read.
Well, you expected it to be some dumb nigger book.
Not dumb nigger book.
Caveman Ongo Bunga. Ongo Bunga.
But I thought it was going to be difficult to read.
Oh, of course.
But it's not.
I completely understand what's going on. Thank you very much. I'm still not happy that you bought your own copy. In secret.
I did tell you the same time.
I didn't even get to sign your book.
I mean,
write you a cute little message.
Is that not my book that you were looking through?
I don't know why that sounded suspect. I don't know why that sounded suspect. It just didn't sound right. I think it was just the way you said it. It just didn't sound right.
Someone said it's been about 2 weeks since I came across this channel and I've been binging every single day. Your videos have officially become a part of my routine while I'm working, relaxing, and while I'm going to sleep. At this point, you're basically the voice in my head. I remember hearing you for the first time and thinking,
I hear voices in my head, they talk to me, they understand. Oh, for those of you that are confused, get cultured, man.
Nah, if you're confused about that,
you should be confused about that.
You got problems. But they said, first, I remember hearing you for the first time and thinking, I can't wait until I start speaking in this language. Without even taking notes, I found myself regurgitating your words out loud, in conversation, or randomly in my thoughts. My subconscious has clearly been paying attention. Note-taking can feel distracting to me when I'm hearing something powerful for the first time, so I just replay. And somehow it's all sticking. I've even started practicing my manifesting powers, and honestly, I finally understand why people join cults. Because if you start handing out robes and a doctrine, I'd be the first to say, where do I sign? Also, my first comment was literally just daddy, because I love him. He is fine. And I could listen to him speak for a lifetime, manifesting.
You don't love me. You don't love me. You don't know me. You just see an individual who gives information. I could be the worst nigga you know. I could literally chain you up in a basement and do I could really, you know what I'm saying?
Real?
Like,
Real.
Just ask Angel what I do to him, you know what I'm saying?
Hey, yo.
Hey, yo. All right, cool. Chapter number 2, reality doesn't care if you're nice. Now, for whatever reason, a lot of spiritual people like to spiritualize things that inherently have no spirituality. So let's take the concept of morality. Bear in mind, be a kind, moral, an individual with integrity and morality, please. But don't think that that is going to qualify you for the reality that you desire. The only thing that's going to qualify you for the right reality is the right frequency. And that's a bar, write that down. You have to come to the understanding that the universe is nothing more than a collection of systems and laws. Those laws are immutable, as it says in the Kabbalion. Those laws are immutable. That means they are impersonal and unchanging. Acts 10:34 says God is no respecter of persons. I want you to understand what God is. God is consciousness. And the universe, or the world that we live in, being made of consciousness. Consciousness is the substance of reality. God, or consciousness, is no respecter of persons. The way that the universe operates, it doesn't care if you're a fucking nice individual. And I need you to grow up out of this idea that being a nice person is going to entitle you to a nice reality. It's like why girls are always complaining about nice guys. And as a guy, you can never understand why if you're a nice guy, girls don't want to fuck with you. And it's the idea that you think being nice entitles you to me. The universe is the same thing. The universe operates the same way. I mean, the universe is feminine, right? The Mother Earth, you know, the universe, God the Father, this combination of masculine and feminine polarity is what they talk about in the Tao Te Ching that creates the absolute, or what's called the Tao. But that's a topic for another day. But going back to the point that I was saying, being a nice person doesn't qualify you for your desired reality. The only thing that will qualify you for your desired reality is if you can become the energetic equivalent of what it is that you desire. If you can occupy and enter the consciousness of what it is you desire. Being nice and being kind is a standard. It's not going to get you your desired reality. In fact, the universe doesn't care if you're nice, because you can be the nicest nigga in the world, but if you fall off a building, no angel is going to pause space-time constraints. No God is going to drop a big hand and catch you before you hit the ground. You're going to hit the ground in the same way the most evil nigga that you know would, in the same way that the most innocent baby would also hit the ground. And I don't say this to be morbid. I say this for you to understand that this idea that you have, that you deserve a right reality and you deserve abundance for a lovely relationship and you're entitled to wealth and all of these things, that can only take place if you become the energetic equivalent, or you occupy the state of consciousness reflective of whatever it is that you want. And the reason why I say you need to get out this mentality is because more often than not, we hold this idea that being nice should get us this. And when we experience it, we ask ourselves the one fucking question that all of us have asked ourselves. And this was the question that actually set me on the path that I'm on right now, discovering this information, reading hundreds of books, and not even writing my own book. And it's the one question that always frustrated me. Growing up in the ends, seeing people, lovely people, suffer. Why do bad things happen to good people? Everybody asks themselves that question, right? And the reason why bad things happen to good people, unfortunately, right, is because good people tend to have bad states of consciousness. And a bad consciousness can only lead to a bad reality. A bad frequency can only lead to a bad reality. Now, do not make the mistake of thinking that all the individuals that, you know, have wealth and all of this, why do they get to live in good realities? It's because more often than not, within what it means to be a good person is a whole bunch of things that unconsciously play, such as humbling yourself or not wanting to make other people uncomfortable, so you begin to relate to people, not believing in yourself to the degree that you do because you don't want to be viewed as arrogant, right? A whole bunch of other things that I'm going to get into throughout this video. But the base premise is electricity doesn't do a nice nigga check. Neither does gravity, neither does water, neither does fire. Manly P. Hall once said, if you want to observe the nature of God, then observe nature, because God is a macrocosm and nature is a microcosm. And the nature of nature, quite literally, is impersonal. Jesus actually says in Matthew 5:4-5, the sun shines on the just and the unjust. The rain rains on the evil and the good alike. Why? Because energy is impersonal. All that matters is that you are the right energy for whatever it is that you desire. Once you begin to vibrationally align with what it is that you want, then you possess the capability of attaining.
I can't make this up. I literally turned $500 into $10K after being down bad for months. And I'm just a regular MS. For those who don't know, that's motherfucker. Just like you gotta. And give Nero some type of props. Not saying it had everything to do with bro, but his videos did help secure the bag. Can't lie, moral of the story is be good with it and be good without it.
Which is the definition of manifestation that I always speak about. Manifestation isn't about changing reality. There's a whole chapter in my book on that. Manifestation is about internally shifting to a degree to which you are no longer emotionally dependent upon seeing reality change. When you're good with it and when you're good without it, then you would have collapsed the gap, which more often than not is importance, which acts as energetic space that keeps you from your desired reality. Because until your desire desires you, you will never get your desire. And that's a bar.
That's a bar.
Bro, there's a whole chapter in my book called The Desire of Your Desires.
Hey.
Come on, man. I mean, normally when people do book summaries, I rarely see authors do their own book summaries. It's normally somebody else's summary. But it's cool to do a book summary on a whiteboard, is what I'm saying. And guys, whether you have the book or not, you can just use this as a reference point anyways. You understand what I'm saying? Because your mind might pick up on something new. All right, cool. Let's see what's the third chapter? First step to mastering reality. Perfect. More often than not, a lot of people enter the realm of spirituality using it as an escape mechanism for the difficulty in their life and discipline, so on and so forth. But what you have to come to an understanding of, a lazy consciousness will always reflect into a lazy reality. That's inescapable. Discipline is probably one of the most underused words in the entirety of the manifestation space, because until you can discipline your mind, until you can discipline your emotion, you will not possess the capability of disciplining your frequency. And if you can't discipline frequency, you can't discipline reality. And that's a bar. Write that down. How can you expect and how can you have the audacity to think that you can command the universe, which you can't even command yourself? What you have to come to an understanding of is that self-mastery is a prerequisite to the mastery over reality. And the moment that you can begin to direct yourself consciously, you can consciously begin to direct reality. The mistake that a lot of people make is attempting to consciously direct reality while unconsciously not being able to direct themselves. And you have to understand that you and reality are one. So you must build a degree of discipline. Now, this discipline is going to vary for each individual. Am I saying you gotta take cold showers in the morning, nigga? No, that's not what I'm saying. But if that's your version of discipline, then yes, each individual has their own unique personal definition of what discipline looks like for you. You must be able to discipline you. It's not about doing what somebody else says. It's about the things in your life that you know that you need to be doing. You need to begin doing them, because nothing in reality is compartmentalized. Nothing in the mind is compartmentalized. A lack of discipline internally will result in an inability to discipline the external. And that's a bar. Write that down. So everything quite literally begins with you. The entirety of this book, Outsmarting Reality, it's not even about outsmarting reality. I just gave it that name because it's a powerful name. It's truly about outsmarting you. Because the moment you begin to outsmart you, reality couldn't touch you.
I have voices in my head, they talk to me. Someone said, bro, true story, I've been binging Nero for the last 2 weeks. My reality has been rocky. I'm jobless and bills are piling up and my car is on the verge of being repoed. I've been looping the emotion of my ideal reality almost all day and also responding rather than reacting.
Good.
And no lie, I got 2 job offers in the last 2 days and I didn't even do a damn thing except focus on the emotion.
That's what I'm fucking talking about. Congratulations.
I got to that part in your book as well. Respond, not react.
Oh, is that where you're at?
Yeah. Just finished that chapter.
I mean, it's the difference, right? Let's see what the next one is, which is funny because I normally do this off top, but there's 20 chapters here. I can't remember 20 things. Normally it's like 5 or 4 points that I kind of extrapolate on. Oh, perfect. What you have to come to an understanding of is something called the compound effect. Now, compounding is typically associated in the realm of finances, and it's when you have an investment that grows onto itself, that money gains money, that money gains money, that money gains money, that money gains money, so on and so forth. That's compounding, right? It's a multiplication of whatever is already there. Now, the universe has its own compound interest. It has its own universal interest. The longer that you spend in a particular frequency, the more likely that frequency is able to compound. And when the universe's interest compounds, it compounds from frequency and materializes into reality. Whether you realize this or not, at this exact moment in time, you are either compounding the frequency of your old frequency or your new frequency. As it says in the Bible, the double-minded man is unstable in all his ways. I believe it says that in James. What you have to come to an understanding of is that the man that chases two rabbits catches neither. You can't sit in two chairs at once. You can't sleep in two chairs at once. So the entirety of your ability to create your desired reality is dependent upon your conscious creation. People often talk about, oh, Nero, what about lucid dreaming? Nigga, you should be lucid living, right? Lucid dreaming is the act of being conscious in a dream. When you understand a dream is no different from reality. A dream is either a combination of a creation from the subconscious, that's what a dream is, or depending upon how far you want to go, it can be seen as you accessing a different parallel universe. Regardless, let's take the first definition, understanding that a dream is nothing more than the creation of consciousness, specifically within the realm of the subconscious. That's what reality is. So instead of trying to be awake while you're dreaming, be awake while you're living, because you need to come to the understanding of you're either building interest in the direction of your old frequency or your new one. Now, the more conscious you are, the more then you come to the realization that the energy that you're giving out should only lead to your desired reality or your new frequency. And the whole point why this chapter is called sacrifice or universal interest is due to the fact that across ancient civilizations, this idea of sacrifice has always been prevalent. The Bible talks about sacrifice. The ancients used to sacrifice things, and sacrifice has quite a ugly word. Am I saying you need to go out here and kill niggas? Please do not do anything like that. No, you don't need to give up anybody. You don't need to do no crazy rituals or nothing like that. When I say sacrifice is doing nothing more in the realm of metaphysics than giving up the lower for higher. And the lower aspects of you that must be sacrificed is the old beliefs that you have, the old expectations that you have on the world, the way that you perceive the world, the way the old version of you would perceive the world. The thoughts that you think, the emotionally charged thoughts, the things that you have conviction in, or the things that you determine to be true. Those things must be sacrificed. You must sacrifice the old beliefs, the old expectations, the old perception, the old thoughts, the old convictions. Because until you sacrifice those things, you will not have space for the greater things. You need to sacrifice the old frequency, and you can only do so by coming to the understanding that these two are basically the same thing. Until you can sacrifice the old frequency, you will be compounding the old frequency. That's the investment that you're building. And I'm sure you'd like a positive return on investment, so make sure that you're conscious of what it is that you're doing.
Oh, while we're here, tell them that crazy thing that you said.
I say a lot of crazy things, bro.
Adele or Taylor Swift?
Oh, I'm saying Adele's better than Taylor Swift. And I'm actually a big Taylor Swift fan. So before them niggas try to come for me, pause, Adele's definitely like that.
Adele is
We
like
could have had it all. What Taylor Swift is better than that? I like Blank Space though.
Rolling in the deep.
'Cause I set fire to the rain.
To me, Adele's voice is something else, to be fair.
Yeah, she's different. So I like what I see when I'm looking at me when I'm walking past the mirror. I wouldn't change my life just fine. See, that's the Mary J. Blige I know, not Monet from Power. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Gotta be with you, gotta be with you, gotta be with you.
Listen to this outrageous shit. Every time AJ reads those thirsty comments, it's really just what he wishes he could say to Nero.
Is it you, bro? Is there no comments? Are you just saying what's on your mind?
I'm making up these comments.
You're just making them up?
Yeah, it's true. Yeah.
So does that mean you was calling me daddy earlier then?
Nah, that one was real.
Cool. The mechanics of the universe. There's two main mechanics of the universe. That is the first one, which is magnify. the universe will seek to magnify your base emotional state. Why? Because emotion is energy emotion. That energy emotion emits an energetic signature that we call a vibration. When a vibration builds interest and compounds, it becomes a frequency. A frequency is nothing more than immaterialized reality. Think about the world that we live in, like frozen imagination, frozen consciousness, frozen frequency. The frequency that you have eventually freezes into reality. And reality is nothing more than frozen frequency. But the base emotional state, due to the fact that emotion is the largest shareholder of your frequency, the base emotional state that you carry with you throughout the day, the universe will seek to magnify. So if you wake up angry, you're going to realize everything in your day looks like it wants to piss you off. If you are an individual who feels like a burden, then the universe will use conditions, people, circumstances, and events to make you feel more like a burden. If you feel ignored, the universe will use people, conditions, circumstances, and events to make you feel more ignored. If you feel unseen, it's the same thing. If you feel upset, the universe will do nothing more than seek to magnify it. Why? Because the universe is you. It is quite literally doing what you're doing to yourself, just on a greater level. And that's a bar, write that down. And when you begin to frame it like that, you realize that everything starts with you. So what is the base emotional state that you're occupying every day? What is the emotional state that you're going into every day? Because see, the mistake that we often make, and please understand this very carefully, it's often said that energy can neither be destroyed, created, nor destroyed, only transferred from one form to another. The mistake that you're trying to make is breaking the cycle, instead of realizing that the cycle can't be broken or destroyed. The only thing that can take place is if that energy is transferred into a more favorable emotional state. So whatever it is that you feel on a day-to-day basis, and this can only come to you, whether this is irritation, frustration, apathy, anger, despair, you're going to have to begin to pinpoint this, because until you can pinpoint the emotion that you're allowing yourself to be occupied in, you won't realize how you're setting in motion this perpetual cycle for the universe to treat you a certain way, which is the way that you're treating yourself internally. Now, after magnifying, it will seek to maintain. Due to the fact that the universe is a system, it likes convenience. All systems thrive on convenience, right? That's what a system is. And because it likes convenience, it has something that I've categorized as energetic equilibrium. When it's got you calibrated to a certain frequency, let's say that this is the individual now, they're frustrated most of the time, they're mostly irritated most of the time, they're apathetic most of the time, they're in a state of poverty, they're in a state of toxic relationships. The reason why it feels like these cycles are inescapable is because quite literally the universe is doing nothing more than seeking to keep you at that balanced state. Which is why, to revert back to the first point, in terms of the old frequency, because they're quite similar, it can feel like when you try to do better, there's something that's just trying to put you back in place. And it's quite literally, why are you...
Pause.
What?
Think of, what's that all about?
There's something that's quite literally trying to put you back in place for the purpose of its own convenience. So until you can understand the mechanics of the universe, you won't realize how the cycle begins. Oftentimes people complain that they feel caught up in the same cycle. You're not caught up in the same cycle is caught up in you. And that's a bar, write that down. And when you come to the recognition that it all begins with the base emotional state, which then leads to that state being maintained, which then leads to a reality. Once you begin at number one with self-identification of what is being magnified, then you have the capability of breaking that cycle.
Before I read this comment out before, this guy said, AJ, I know you're going to complain to Nero about how long this comment is before you tell him, but I just need your advice. Bear in mind, off camera I said, nah, this comment's too long.
Yeah, he was literally like, yo, this comment looks mad long.
I have to scroll to see the whole thing.
All right, go on, bro. When I'm cleaning this.
How's it, Nero? I've been in prison for 2 years before and been watching your videos for quite some time and have been reluctant to post about the spooky thing that happened to me and ask for advice, but here it goes.
Spooky? You're coming to me. No, I don't like any of that stuff.
I love hiking and met this girl who I had a conversation with, and it led to metaphysics, and I had to spit some of your bars, and this girl was fascinated, and she told me she wants to...
Hold on. He's using my bars.
Your bars to get you out.
All right, cool. So I'm the one that's...
New method.
Saying that.
Random have a method.
So that's my thing then. That's my risk.
And she told me she wants to introduce me to a friend. So we went to her friend's house a week later, and this guy has statues of Buddha all over his apartment and a calendar with playing cards. Seemed like some
Playing cards.
Yep.
They're tarot cards, man. There's not no playing cards.
Seemed like some occulting stuff. But basically, he told me through it, he foretold the exact date when his mother and grandmother would die, and it happened on the exact dates. We'll post a calendar for you to see, apparently. He said he can tell. He said he can tell a lot about me, and I asked him what, and he said, "You're not ready." I said, "Fine." Then after the meeting, we left his place. When I got home, this statement bothered me, so I texted him, and he said that because I didn't bring any gifts. I got baffled because I was talking.
Bring any gifts?
Yeah,
what the fuck is this nigga?
You know, like that. I got baffled because I was talking to myself and said, why would I need to pay someone to tell me about me? Everything that I am and will ever need is within.
Facts.
Don't need an outside folks to tell me.
Facts.
Fast forward, this guy invites me and this girl to this house in a neighborhood called Beacon Bay, South Africa.
Yay, South Africa.
And I saw some jars with plants mixed with alcohol and potions.
Who's that one?
I don't know what they are.
You will see.
As we were speaking, I found out that these guys were wizards, and the girl I met at the club is a witch.
They're recruited.
And they cast spells.
Do you know what's crazy? So there's an occult bookshop in London that one of my friends took me to. Shout out Milan. And this bookshop just has bare books on occultism, Eastern mysticism, all types of things. There's a section. I remember when I was in there was a section, and the section said love spells. I saw girls my age, the type of girls that my guys would like. Cute girls, love spells. I thought to myself, Then I saw a girl pick up a book on necromancy. Continue.
It's an evil world I am. I kept my composure and didn't judge based on my knowledge of the law of polarity from the Kabbalion that good and evil is one energy, just different rates of vibration. They asked me to pick a card, which was 3 of diamonds, and they checked the calendar and sort of tried to ask me questions that when they got the answers, they sort of tried to use my answer to turn it around and make it sound like it came from them. But at the same time, I felt like it was a botched exercise of them trying to show me that the calendar is esoteric and works, but I wasn't convinced. Lastly, they could see I wasn't buying it, and the guy said, "Okay, look, what do you want?" Implying that I could get it through a spell. I looked at him and said, "There's nothing that I want that I don't already have, and I don't have to cast a spell for something."
That's a bar. You don't have to cast no spells to do none of that.
Real.
That's a bar.
They sort of gave up and I left.
Thank God.
I need your advice on this because it kept...
No.
Yeah,
no. What do you want me to do?
Then he said, after I left that night, I had 2 dreams. One, I lost my car. The other one, someone stole my phone. And then that morning, I was constipated. I interpreted this as a sign of rejection by my higher self from all 3 spheres of being: spiritual, mental, physical. Sorry for this being.
How am I supposed to give advice to that? What am I supposed to say?
Yeah.
You done the right thing. You don't have to get involved in none of that. And quite literally, understanding that you're the materialization of God, the infinite is within you. And because the infinite is within you, all frequencies are within you, all parallel universes are within you. Every particular desire that you have is nothing more than an experience that you've had just in another state of existence. And anything that you desire, you can have so long as you can find it within yourself, which segues nicely into the annoying law of the universe. The annoying law of the universe is what I call you can only have what you already have. And coming to the understanding that you can only have what you already have, that doesn't initially make sense until you come to the understanding of what I mean by habit. You're like, how the fuck can I have that career promotion, that job, that individual, that certain amount of my business, that career opportunity? Like, how can I have that? You know what I'm saying? It doesn't make any sense, except when you come to the understanding of what I mean when I say have. Have does not pertain to physical possession, because you have to understand the universe understands itself, and it understands that the physical plane is nothing more than the realm of illusion. Hence why in ancient Hindu traditions they call it the world of Maya. In the Kabbalah they call it the world of 1%. In the Kabbalion they refer to it as the divine paradox, right? It's this understanding that reality is an illusion, right? And because reality is an illusion, the universe doesn't particularly respect reality to the same degree in terms of uphold it and have reverence for it. When I talk about having, your mind goes to physical possession. That looks like it's spelled wrong, but I promise you it's not. The universe's definition of having is vibrational possession. That's what I'm talking about when I say you can only have what you already have. Without realizing that more often than not, when you have a desire, when you have a goal and you look at that goal and you're like, I want that girl or guy, or I want that job, or I want that promotion, or I want that amount in my business, you're looking at your goal, which means you're separated from it. Instead of coming to the understanding that until you can look from your goal, you will never be at your goal. And understand what I just said. So long as you're looking at your goal, you're indirectly admitting that you're not one with your goal. And until you're looking from your goal, the universe will not recognize you as one with your goal, due to the fact that wanting leads to repulsion. Because if you can only have what you already have, if you want something, because you don't have it. Whereas having leads to attraction or creation. Because anytime that we want something, the mistake that we often begin to put on it is importance. And as I said earlier, importance is energetic space. The bigger the importance that you have in between you and your desired reality, the bigger the energetic space in between you and your desired reality. Why does it seem like the things that we don't want come to us so easy? It's due to the fact of the secret frequency of not needing. When you tap into the secret frequency of not needing by collapsing that degree of importance, by coming to the recognition that you don't want the thing, what you truly want is to possess it vibrationally, and possessing it vibrationally is doing nothing more than entering the state of consciousness of already having it and allowing yourself to feel the emotion that you'd feel upon having it and to think the way you think upon having it. Then you truly have it by the universe's definition, so then you can have it by your definition. So long as you're operating by the humanistic definition of physically having, you will never have, my friend. You need to have what you want before you have it. Understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, the Tory Lanez news.
Mad thing. Straight mad thing.
Real.
He's getting stabbed in prison, and then after it comes out that he wasn't the one that did the shooting, supposedly. And I say supposedly because I'm not too much in the loop, right?
Same, I hear it.
That's a bit mad.
That's messed up.
That's a bit mad stuff. Big conspiracy, that one.
Shout out, Megan.
Shout out, bro. Don't play like that, bro. You might get bagged, fam. You might get locked up. I don't know what it is that makes me feel like this. I don't know you are, but you must be some kind of superstar. Just got alarms on you, no matter where you are. I wanna make up right now, nah, nah. I wanna make up right now, nah, nah. Wish we never broke up right now, nah, nah. We need to link up right now, nah, nah. I wanna make up right now, nah, nah, nah.
What a time.
What a time. Cool, next one. I'll do it in blue. Lovely.
No yellow.
No yellow. Next chapter, I believe it is on earth as it is in heaven. There's two main scriptures that I break through. Well, I guess 4 technically. So in this chapter is Luke 17:21, the Gospel of Thomas, Matthew 6:33, and then the other one, what is the other one? John 3:27. Cool. So first things first, we have to come to an understanding of the scripture as on earth as it is in heaven. This is nothing more than the esoteric hidden phrase of as within, as without. Earth is a reference to the physical plane, your reality, the world that you live in. So your reality will be on earth as it is in heaven, which is your state of consciousness. Now let's come to an understanding of what this truly means. And the mistake that a lot of people make, Luke 17:21 says, the kingdom of heaven is within you. Lo here, lo there, the kingdom of heaven is within you. Now, heaven has been sold. There were some niggas that were selling real estate in heaven, like actual selling land in heaven. I'm not joking. I'll get easy to put up on the screen. You'll probably laugh when you're editing this back looking at it. Real talk. But heaven has been sold as a geographical location in the afterlife of people, which has been used to psychologically manipulate and coerce people into acting in accordance. But we won't get into that because that's not really important. But Luke 17:21 says the kingdom of heaven is within you. Then the similar thing is found in the Gospel of Thomas, which is one of the Nag Hammadi texts, one of the Gospels that were taken out of the Bible, that seems by scholarly consensus the most likely to be something that is true, and as opposed to the other Gospels, which non-canonical text. But anyways, in the Gospel of Thomas, Jesus says the kingdom of heaven is inside and outside of you. If you think heaven is in the sky, then the birds are closer than you are. If you think heaven is in the sea, then the fish already know it. The kingdom of heaven is inside and outside of you. This is a reference to consciousness, because consciousness is inside and outside of you. Now, on that point, Matthew 6:33 says, seek ye first the kingdom of God, and then righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you. But what is the kingdom of God, and why should we seek it? And what are all the things that we can get? The things are the things that you desire to materialize. So in order for you to get the things, you must meet the prerequisite of seeking first the kingdom of God. And what's the kingdom of God? It's heaven. And what is heaven? Heaven is a state of bliss, peace, relaxation, desire for nothing. There is no separation because you are connected to everything. That is what heaven is. And that's how you know what heaven is, because hell, by religious definition, people will be like, oh, hell is eternal separation from God. How the fuck could you be eternally separated from God if God is omnipresent? Of course, it's an esoteric understanding that separation implies misalignment. Once you're misaligned from God, you experience hell, separation from God, even though you can never be technically separated from God. But heaven is unity, bliss, peace, and relaxation. Now, John 3:27 says, a man can only receive from heaven. In order for a man to receive, he must first receive from heaven. What does that mean? In order for you to get what it is that you want, you must enter this state of peace, bliss, relaxation, and a desire for nothing. Why? Because this particular state is synonymous with the way that your brain functions. Now, a lot of you don't realize is that you're stressed out trying to manifest. Listen to what I'm about to say. You can never materialize your desired reality, or I won't say never. It will be extremely difficult for you to materialize your desired reality in a state of stress. Go back to the first mechanic of the universe. What's the first M? Magnification. The universe will magnify that stress through people, conditions, circumstances, and events to make you more stressed. You'll be driving to work. Light changes red. Why isn't the light changing? You speed, somebody pulls out in front of you. Beep. Somebody's calling you, just chatting about some nonsense. People are just pissing you off, just for no reason. The magnification of that stress will then be sought out to be maintained by the universe in the second M of the universe. But going to what I was just saying, it's difficult for you to materialize what it is that you want in a state of stress once you begin to understand the brainwaves. See, what we conceptualize as heaven metaphysically, physically, is what we call the theta and alpha brainwave state. Theta is 4 to 8 hertz, and this is deeply relaxed meditative state. When you're in a state of deep relaxation, your brain triggers into theta brainwaves. Theta brainwaves is the bridge to the subconscious mind. Many of us that grow up in survival circumstances, that grow up in the ends or the projects or anything resonant of that, like my mom was literally telling me someone got shot in the ends the other day. You understand what I'm saying? Like, that stuff was normal. That's normal for us. But you don't realize that that high stress environment that always has you on alert triggers you into operating from the beta brainwave state, which is conscious alert thinking. Conscious alert thinking, and because so long as you're conscious and alert, your conscious mind will only be the thing that you ever experience, so you never get to touch your subconscious mind, so you never get to change your reality. That's why a man cannot receive unless it is given to him from heaven. John 3:27. In order for you to receive your desired reality, you must be in a state of peace, bliss, relaxation, and unity, and a desire for nothing, because once you are in heaven, heaven will find itself in you. Next. See, all I have to do is just look at the chapter names, and it's like all of that information just comes right back out at me.
What chapter are you on right now?
I am not sure. Maybe 6 or 7, 8 maybe. So I like want to see the other look in it. Yeah. Literally, guys, this was supposed to be something that was only for people that paid for it, this workshop. And literally on the day of the event, I was on the phone with everybody about to, go through it. AJ wasn't even here, so I don't know how I was going to do that. But anyway, see, I was just like, you know what, guys? I'm just going to refund everybody, and I'll just make this into a free YouTube video for everybody. Everybody was like, what? I can't believe this. I can't believe this. This is so good. I get my money back and I get it for free. Da, 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 da. I'm glad by that decision, to be honest. All right, cool. Let's see. Oh, guys, if you want the book, link in the description. I can say that now. All right, frequency redefined manifestation. Cool. So, simple one. Doesn't need much of an explanation. This one goes into the three planes of existence. You can't outrun your frequency. Now, what you have to understand is that what I call your frequency is nothing more than your mental arrangement. Your mental arrangement pertains to the mental plane. There's three planes of existence. A lot of people begin to negate this when they enter spirituality, and they act as if the physical plane doesn't exist. Now, you're always going to have to do some type of physical work, but hard work isn't necessary to materialize your desired reality. Work will be part of it, but it won't feel like work if you arrange yourself correctly. Now, the mistake that a lot of people make is attempting to outrun their frequency. Your frequency is the boundary of where you can go in and out of, and that's a bar. Write that down. In fact, let me re-say that. Don't write that down. You cannot go outside the boundary of your frequency. That's a bar. Write that down. If you're calibrated at a particular level in your head of, let's say, $500 a month. Let's say you're at $500 a month in your head, and that's where your frequency is resonant with. You can do everything that you, and I've had people come to me and be like, yo, I'm making 50K a month. I've been trying to make 100K a month for the longest time. I'm stuck. What's going on? And it's due to the fact that they're like, I'm doing everything I need to be. I've got the right systems in place. I've hired the right people. I'm doing the right marketing, No, you can't outrun your frequency. The mistake that you're attempting to do, let's say your frequency, this boundary is resonant with a particular level. So let's say you're at level 1 and you want to get to level 5. And you're doing everything physically that you should be doing to go to level 5. You could be an individual who wants a healthy relationship. You can be on the dating apps. You can be going to speed dating things. You could be going to roller skating events. I don't know where niggas meet people these days, but you can be doing everything that you need to be physically, but it's still not materializing. You can be doing everything you should be physically to get that career promotion. You can be overqualified. You can have all the right things. You can have the right personality, the right characteristics, and you still don't get it. Why? Because you're attempting to do level 5 work while your frequency is calibrated at level 1. You cannot outrun your frequency. What you need to do is to begin to, instead of trying to go outside to level 5, you must become level 5. Through alteration of your frequency, you naturally alter the perimeters or the boundaries that you are confined with. And until you can correctly do that by rearranging yourself first on the mental plane, prioritizing the mental plane, then prioritizing the spiritual plane, and then prioritizing the physical plane, you will not be able to do that. Isn't it funny how one guy was like, yo, I met my girl in your community. Not a community, guys. I don't have a Discord or anything like that. I'm assuming just like, comments or Instagram or whatever. It's crazy how somebody met like their person there. Meanwhile, other niggas get recruited by witches.
Yeah, that's wild. These times he was spitting your bars thinking, yeah, man.
Yeah, he's spitting my bars thinking, yeah, frequency and that stuff. Fucking, yeah, man. I'm just out here just trying to be on the highest, be in the right frequency, consciousness.
Just find out she's a witch.
3 planes of existence. And he's thinking, yeah, this is working. This is working. Lo and behold, she tried to use you for money ritual. Stay with me, guys. We're nearly done. Cool. Next one, redefining manifestation. That one is very, very simple. The redefining manifestation just simply is nothing more than altering the conceptualization of manifestation typically from the external to the internal. A lot of people believe that manifestation is about changing reality, bending reality with your thoughts, changing the world around you, changing your reality. No, manifestation isn't about any of those things. Manifestation is nothing more than internally shifting to a degree to which you no longer need to see reality change. Every once in a while, people will be like, I've been watching your videos, but nothing's changing, bro. Like, why is it not working? You still haven't been listening, have you? Manifestation is internally shifting. Once you can enter the state of consciousness of what it is that you want to a degree that you're no longer emotionally dependent, as in the lack of it isn't affecting you internally and you're good with it and you're good without it, then that is the true definition of manifestation. In fact, that's the true liberation for anything in life, because more often than not, the world wants to convince you that what is within it is more powerful and more worthy than you. But once you understand that the power is within and you can create what it is that you want within, then you will no longer need to see it without, and reality has no power over you. If I could give you your desired reality right now and it will take you up to here, then that means the lack of it can take you down here, due to what Sir Isaac Newton said, for every force is an equal and opposite force. If I could give you a desired reality and that would take you 10 feet into the air, that means the lack of it has the potentiality to take you 10 feet into the ground. And when the potentiality of it can take you 10 feet into the ground, then that means that if we go back to the mechanics of the universe, despair, frustration, anger, sadness, depression, then all of that is set in motion to be perpetually materialized in your reality. So redefining manifestation begins with you. Now in there, I also go through the 7 keys to frequency. But I guess some things you can just find in the book, innit? Back. Chapter. The desire of your desires. Cool. Oh, no, we're not far. The desire of your desires. Now, until you possess the capability of becoming the desire of your desires will not desire you, and you will keep desiring it. In this universe, you can either have a desire or a desire can have you. And I'll tell you this, in every instance that you have a desire, it will run away from you. But when you have what your desire wants, it will come to you. Just think about the simple example. It's like when you try to catch a butterfly, it's going to fly. What are you going to do? Jump 100 feet into the air with a, you're not going to be able to catch it. But when you possess what the butterfly wants, it will come to you naturally. And the butterfly is your desired reality. You see, you don't want what you really want. You think, I want that person. I want that type of relationship. I want that amount of money. I want that career. I want that career promotion. No, you don't want that. You think you want that. And because you think you want it, you're caught up in the wrong fucking cycle. In order for you to make that thing want you, you must have what it wants. And what your desires are always going to want is your frequency. Once you have the frequency of that desire, it will come to you willingly. It will pull its pants down and come straight to you. Quite literally. But you must possess the capability of understanding what it is that you really want. And the only way to tap into the desire of your desires is to come to an understanding of, what does this thing mean to me? Because more often than not, let's say it's money. Let's say this over here is you. You think you want money. You don't want money. What you want is to never worry about a bill again, to never feel like your life could be finished if you miss a bill, to never feel insecure, right? Unstable. You want security. That's the feeling that you want. And because it's a feeling, you possess the capability of entering it now. Feeling is just a fancy way of saying frequency. When you possess the capability of entering the feeling, you possess the frequency. When you possess the frequency, due to the fact that frequency is nothing more than immaterialized reality, the security of that reality will then come and find you. You need to find out, what is it that I want? Why do I want this person? Why do I want a healthy relationship? I want to feel loved. I want to feel cherished. Ironically, when you utilize your imagination to internally create an experience to give you that love, that cherishment? No, it's not cherishment. Make yourself feel cherished and appreciated internally, and you generate that emotion within you, then you're going to come to the understanding that you'll be like, nah, I'm good without a relationship. Not out of the place where niggas who aren't in relationships are like, I don't need a relationship. No, I mean from a whole loving point when you're like, you know what? I feel so good, I don't need a relationship. And then boom, one comes to find you. You know what? That job is whatever, because I already know that I'm respected. I already know that I'm competent. I already know that I'm powerful and capable. Then they're going to desire you. Same thing. Tap into the desire of your desires.
Nearly missed this one. I've been working on my confidence with YouTube and TikTok videos because I wanted people to start seeing me. Well, see the real me.
No,
I used to believe I was shy, and it was because I had a crippling fear of judgment, only to grow up and be judged anyway. So I put myself in front of a camera and started speaking about what I wanted to speak about. I'm still not great with live visuals, like going on live on YouTube or anywhere else, or actually being in front of a crowd, but it's definitely one step at a time thing. Talking was the beginning, and hopefully singing will be the end goal. This is an amazing video.
Was that the Aura video?
Yes, yeah, it says here. By Lee
Nice. I'm glad to hear that. Make sure you send me something. Now, next chapter, how to know exactly what action to take. More often than not, physical action is part of the process. That one is just, I don't even know why spiritual people would tell niggas the lies as if you don't brush your fucking teeth in the morning. What? So physical action is definitely a necessity, but more often than not, people possess the wrong frequency and attempt to take action to get to their desired reality. Your frequency must be correct in order for your action to be correct. What do I mean by this? What you don't realize is once you enter the right frequency, you'll naturally, due to your intuition is comprised of two words, inner tuition, inner teaching, inner guidance, you'll be mentally nudged. Some days you'll be driving, you'll be like, nah, let me take a left. And then you hear somebody had a car crash on that road. Or you'll be like, oh, let me change this on my website, or let me change this. And then a client comes in, or you know what, let me just go out today and try this on, and somebody approaches you, let me just apply for this job, and why not? And then somebody like, let's do an interview. We all have these mental nudges in our head, but the quality of your mental nudges need to be reflective of your desired reality. And that is only potentiality if your frequency is calibrated to your desired reality. So your frequency must be your desired reality. You must be in your desired reality in order to know what action to take to get to that desired reality. More often than not, people will be in poverty and then attempt to take action to get to wealth, without realizing that your frequency is the biggest domino, and the action that you're taking is going to be dependent upon the mental nudges you have, which are calibrated to poverty, which is eventually going to bring you to poverty. People would be in toxicity in reflection of love, and then attempt to be in a healthy relationship and come to the conclusion of why does it just never go right? Why do I keep sabotaging? Why am I not attracted to this individual who should be good for me, but for some reason it's just not working? It's because the frequency and the consciousness that you're calibrated at is reflective of a degree of toxicity or unhealthy manner, which then eventually leads to the intuition and the mental nudges. Something's up about him. Mental action, and then you just stop replying, and then you're like,
Why are you looking at me like that?
what?
You're a bit sus, bro.
What?
Everyone saw you. You're on cam.
What? Can you rewind that? This guy is going crazy.
I look up, bro's looking at me.
Okay, so fine, I won't look at you then. Since that's what you don't want me to look at you, fine. Perception projection. Cool. There's something that I call the perception projection loop. A lot of people get themselves trapped into the understanding of not liking their life or not liking the way that their reality looks. Start coming to the realization that until you can look at your current life as if it's your dream life, it will never be your dream life. And that's on far write that down. The perception that you have, the way that you see the world, is nothing more than how you see yourself. And until you can come to the recognition that when you change the way you see the world, you change the way that you experience the world. And when you change the way you experience the world, you change what truth is in your head, and you begin to change what it is that you experience. Until you come to the understanding that the way you look at life is the way life looks at you, you must change the way you look at life in order for life to change the way it looks at you. And when life begins to look at you as the individual who you want to be, that's when things change. You need to begin to look at reality through the lens of, how would the desired reality version of me look at this, 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 look at this. And the moment that you begin to do that, life will see you as the desired version of you, then in turn, reflect that back to you. Oh, perfect.
You like this chapter, yeah?
Yeah. Yeah. You don't have beliefs, beliefs have you. You must come to the understanding that you don't have being broke has you. You don't have being toxic has you. You don't have a lack of confidence has you. The beliefs that you have aren't things that you possess, they're things that possess you. Many people are worried about being possessed by demons instead of coming to the realization that they're possessed by negative beliefs, or they live in negative realities. Beliefs have a defense mechanism. You have to understand that beliefs are living things that want to take that real estate in your head. They own that property in your head and they're like, cool, I want to stay here. And because they want to stay here, they end up having their own psychology in the same way that your old frequency has its own psychology and the old frequency has its own psychology. And until you can come to the recognition that you think you believe this about the world, no, that's just the belief that's taking space in your mind and it's making you think like this. Because when it can make you think like this, it knows you will create this, and then you'll reinforce and be like, that's just the way it is. No, that's the way you are. No, that's not the truth. Truth, when we say that's the truth, what we fail to understand, as it says in Kabbalion, is that all truths are half truths. And when you say that's just the way it is, or that's the truth, you actually solidify a particular belief further into your head. Come to the recognition that you don't have beliefs, beliefs have you. And once you change that, then the question you need to ask yourself is, if this belief doesn't serve me, what is it here for? To take up that energy. Because it knows, as every spirit wants to be materialized. Even when you hear about these people that will make pacts with demons and do all of this, it's because these entities want to experience the physical plane. Beliefs want to experience physical plane, but they do that by making sure they manifest in your life, not due to the fact that they're truths, but they're truths that you have accepted subconsciously. The next one is conviction. You have to understand, when we're talking about conviction, conviction is the true esoteric definition of faith. Faith comes from the Latin word fides. Fides is the etymological origin in Latin of confidence, conviction. Once you have conviction, you know something. I know I'm going to see this person today. I know they're going to say this. I know they're going to do this. I knew they were doing this. Anytime you step into knowing, you step into power. Belief isn't enough to create your desired reality. The only thing that's powerful enough to create your desired reality is knowing. And until you can enter a place of knowing, you won't possess the ability to create. But you have to understand what conviction is. Conviction is confidence, and confidence is dependent upon the degree of self-trust that you have within you. Self-trust is dependent upon your ability to do what you know you need to do and not to do what you know that you shouldn't be doing. And anytime you begin doing that, depends on you. I think that chapter is actually called There's No Creation Without Conviction. And then the law of emotion. The law of emotion is quite simple. The heart produces an electromagnetic field that is 60 to 100 times larger than the one of the brain. Your heart is a more powerful spiritual creation source than the mind. Once you enter emotion, emotion is the language of the subconscious mind. Emotion is the language of the subconscious mind. Say it with me. Emotion is the language of the subconscious mind. An individual only needs to go through a traumatic experience once for it to enter their subconscious mind. But spiritual niggas will tell you that you need to repeat these things again and again. No, what you need to do is possess the ability to generate an internal degree of emotion, because when you possess the ability to generate a degree of emotion, that emotion is an energetic charge. The energetic charge enters the subconscious, and then subconscious as within, as without. I feel like I'm doing a speed run through them now.
Nah, for real.
I'm in that mode. Spend some time. I haven't seen you in like 2 weeks. I nearly lost it when I didn't see you, bro.
What did you do on Friday?
We always record on Fridays, but I literally just sat down and did nothing. I didn't even watch a TV show. Somebody thought if somebody saw me, they would have thought something was wrong. You know when you're just laying there, just nothing. TV is not even on, fam. I'm literally just staring. I'm just literally just on my phone, just brain rotting, thinking, damn, something today feels off. Transcend the collective. You have to understand that the collective or society is an entity in of itself. And until you have the capability of disconnecting from the way the average person thinks, you will have the life of the average person. See, more often than not, if you want to become an anomaly, which is just you materializing your desired reality, probably an anomaly to some degree or another, you need to disconnect from the beliefs of the societal collective, because the societal hive mind is an entity that keeps you all within it. And so long as it keeps you within it, you are kept within the reality of that energy. So you need to transcend the collective by coming to the understanding that there's 3 levels. There's evolutionary, and these are what I call social contracts. It exists on an evolutionary scale. We were wired to conform to the group, and if not, we would quite literally die. That's why exile is a punishment, because it signals to the primal part of your brain that you're going to die when you're not in a group. You have to understand that we were raised as children to conform. When you do something nice, you get a kiss on the cheek. When not, you get told off. And third, it exists in our day-to-day, I guess, adult lives, right? And I go through this in more depth through the book, but you're going to have to break social contracts and become unapologetic with your success, because more often than not, a lot of you are guilty for success that hasn't even materialized yet. And because you're guilty for success that hasn't materialized yet, that frequency of guilt self-sabotage is the frequency of your desired reality, keeping you in the same position just so you can relate to everybody. This workshop is supposed to be 3 hours, you know? But I'm speed running it. Attention, beats, intention, relatively bad. Cool. 4 more. Attention beats intention. Quite simple. A lot of you have the intentions of being in healthy relationships, getting that career promotion, getting that job, making that certain amount of money. You have the intention, but unfortunately, your attention is focused on the opposite. You're focusing on why this can't work for you, how it hasn't worked for this person, how this person got hurt here, why did it work for this person, so on and so forth. Your attention, understand these 3 words, burn these words into your head. Attention is alignment. Attention is alignment. Attention is alignment. You can have all the intentions for good, but if your attention is focused on things that resonate, imply, and reflect the bad, that's ultimately what's going to be created, because your attention is more powerful source than your intention. Everybody has the intention for better, but everybody lives in bad. And it's because their attention, to some degree or not, is still focused on the bad. So you need to make sure that you align your attention with your desired reality.
Have you heard of DDG?
Yep.
You see what happened to him?
Yeah, tough one still.
Yeah, apparently.
Or what happened to her?
Very true. Or what happens to the child?
Yeah, exactly. Prepare to be bad. This kind of goes into transcend the collective. You're going to have to be a bad person. What I mean by that is you're going to have to prioritize the frequency that you're seeking to cultivate. Unfortunately, a lot of us are selfless to the point where we think that love is self-sacrifice. I mean, like I remember growing up in the ends, you know, the true hallmark of you loving one of your boys was, would you go to jail for that? Why is self-sacrifice the definition of love? And more often than not, that's kind of wired into us, right? But if love is dependent upon self-sacrifice, then at what point are you going to prioritize yourself? Because in order for you to materialize your desired reality, you need to prioritize yourself, because you're prioritizing that reality. And if you're not prioritizing that reality, you're not prioritizing yourself. And if you're not, then how could you ever create it? There's an aspect of you that's going to have to be okay with being societally recognized as a bad person. Now, am I saying you need to go and start slapping babies? Don't be stupid. It's nothing to do with that. It's about the internal detachment from the emotional strings that people pull on you once you begin to move in the direction that is working for you and better for you and even better for them.
Man says slapping babies.
Hey, you gotta give instructions. Some people are mad out here. Then they'll start saying, "Oh, that nigga Nero. Oh, why does he think it's okay to slap babies and that?" What?
You wrote up something like that in your book. You were like, oh, I can't remember what you said, bro. But I was just like, yeah, that's like a disclaimer.
I make a couple jokes in there. Cool. The penultimate one, the energetic ceiling. Your self-worth is the energetic ceiling of anything you ever seek to attain. Your self-worth is determined by what you have emotionally experienced. Your self-worth is determined by what you have emotionally experienced. Say it with me. Your self-worth is determined by what you have emotionally experienced. And because your self-worth is determined by what you have emotionally experienced, in order for you to increase your self-worth, you need to increase what you have emotionally experienced. And because the mind can't differentiate between imagination and reality, if you can allow for your imagination to create a vivid experience that generates emotion, you can alter your self-worth. Let's say your goal is here, but your self-worth is at this level right here. You will keep hitting off that each and every single time, and it'll seem like you have a ceilings because you need to increase your self-worth. Because if you don't think you're worthy of it, then you will bring yourself back down to the level that you think you deserve. If you've only experienced toxic love that's been terrible and traumatic, then unfortunately, because that's what you've emotionally experienced, that's what you're going to think you deserve. So when a good individual comes around, it just doesn't seem to click. It's because you need to alter what you have emotionally experienced. Now, for the last chapter, what to do when reality goes wrong. What to do when reality goes wrong.
Good, what do you?
Goodness me, I have so many pens in here.
Hey.
I didn't even realize my pockets were that big. I would look down at my pants and I was like, what? Pause. What to do when reality goes wrong. First, detach from the notion of wrong. What to do when reality goes wrong. Detach from the notion of wrong. Understand that you're always on the pathway to your desired reality until you say otherwise. That's a mentality that you need to maintain in your head. It says in Romans, I believe it's the 13th chapter of Romans, it says that there's only one force in the universe. God is the only authority throughout the entirety of the universe. So long as you keep one path, you have one path. But we have duality as human beings in this third dimensional realm, and we create polarity. Once you begin to feel that things are going wrong, you actually begin to create a pathway to wrong, as opposed to just saying that even when things are wrong, they're right, because that's when you transcend polarity and you come to a recognition of what's truly going on. The other thing is you need to relax. Through a relaxation, you begin to calm yourself internally, and the chaos around you is nothing more than a reflection of the chaos that is within you that you're unaware of. And once you do that, you calm the self within, and then you calm the world around you without. And then other than that, yeah, I think that's the workshop.
Thanks for dropping the book, Nero.
Thanks for dropping the book, Nero. So good, guys.